and welcome to Fate of Isen Book 2. We're a Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition podcast made by a bunch of Kiwi comedians, proud members of Kiwi RPG, Kimu of Whakatau o Aotearoa, Kimu Whakatau o Aotearoa, tabletop role-playing from New Zealand. We kōrero paki, tell some jokes, hopefully save the world, and have a whole lot of fun along the way. Thank you for joining us today. If it is your first time visiting Isen, then welcome along. And for all of our Faties who are coming home, welcome back. It is great to see you again. I've got my cast here of Book 2 with the sidebars, and I am going to throw it to them to introduce themselves. So take it away, sidebars.
Kia ora koutou, kia te piha koe, ki te nenga aha. We are recording later than usual. It's Isen After Dark, which will be a different vibe. This is so I can preempt any weird things that I say by giving you the context of my weirdness. My name is Severin. I'm playing Dexter Clementine. I cannot stress enough how much he is not a monkey boy. He is just a monk boy. But I keep saying monkey boy. I keep making him more simian as we go on. He is a monk who is a boy who punches things, and he's trying his best. Give him some slack. Back off. Over to you, Erika.
Oh hey, it's me, Erika, and new month, new me, new dice roller, baby. I have an actual physical dice roller now because D&D Beyond has been giving me some questionable rolls. But this is going to be audio only, so y'all can't see it. So you got to wait 2 weeks. But I can show the cast later on. But it's really cool, and it's very, very shiny. And it's got the click-clicky rock sound, and I like it immensely. Over to you, Kasia. Oh, I play Taryn Grimm. Did I say that? Sorry, Kasia.
You play a dice tower?
Yeah, her plays Taryn Grimm.
Yeah, more important, dice tower.
My name is Kasia, and I play an elderly and senile Granny Sabinka, who, unlike me, knows how to log into their own D&D Beyond account to see their character sheet. I do not. She is a bit of a druid half-elf who should look young and beautiful at this age, but somehow does not. Childcare is a real job, guys. Childcare is a real job.
And hey everybody, I'm Julz. I'm your dungeon master for book 2. Slightly still sick. Day 17 of having the flu. Go get your flu shots, people. The flu is pretty gnarly. And if you hear me coughing during this episode because Brad didn't manage to edit them all out, I apologize. I'm still pretty bad, but we're just gonna make our way through this because I'm excited to be back and playing with my friends. So, what happened last episode? It has been a month or so, so for those of you who are current with your listening, apologies for the small delay as I recovered from hospital visits and all sorts of things. But where did we leave our sidebars? Well, Taryn, Dexter, and Granny had a bit of a colourful encounter in the town square with travelling artist Wardley Amerson. Taryn got her tattoo from her newly acquired magic needle. They did receive some news from home, and I say home with comma fingers because some of them received news from home. Granny did receive a letter from her daughter, Beata, who we have not heard, but those of you who are Patreon supporters may have read the contents of that letter. So a reason for being a Patreon supporter. Granny has some emotions, I'm sure, which may or may not come out. We'll see. We heard from Taryn's friend, Ayla, who sent a letter from the aquarium, basically hoping for the best for Taryn and the book that Taryn carries, which apparently has a lot more hopes carried with this book than we realized previously. Escaping from the aquarium, I'm sure we'll hear about that in a Patreon special episode as Taryn reveals backstory. But we heard a little bit in that letter, which was pretty exciting, and a third letter, which was a particularly odd invite from Wen of the Forgotten, inviting them to visit the Temple of the Forgotten and come see the people there, come learn from what they could learn from there, but also sort of vaguely threatening about what they may or may not leave remembering. It was a bit of an odd letter, but let's see if our sidebars explore that in the future.
We'll do it if we remember.
Yeah, exactly. And also the sidebars had a surprise visitor from Lakeside as Nurse Nahi turned up. In response to Dexter's letter, basically Dexter wrote Nurse Nahi a letter a while ago sort of talking about the odd illness up here in the air and asking if she'd heard anything about it. Not really being able to do anything about the various illnesses and things that were going on down on Earth in Isen, with the Earth turning rather toxic and killing all the plant life down there. She's just sort of feeling a bit useless, and she made her way to Air to see if she could do anything to help with the problems that they were experiencing up here. Being the good sort of, head nurse that she is, you enter another head nurse's territory, and she wanted to go pay her respects. And so she asked if you'd like to accompany her to the Celestial Centre up here in Air, where head nurse Howe is in charge. And she'd brought like a little beverage along to sort of ease the, hello, I'm another head nurse in your territory, so sorry for visiting. Would you like any help? Kind of, sort of vibes. So you went along with her to find out what was going on and sort of see if you could be of assistance. And that's when you overheard Zephyra, Skydrape, sounding quite stressed and quite angry at the front desk, asking for where her sister Aurelie Skydrape was. Because they kept telling her, seemingly, that she wasn't there. And that's what you overheard as you were entering Head Nurse Howe's office, as she was sort of gesturing you into her office area, that you overheard that conversation happening at the front desk. And that's where we left our sidebars. So, what is it that you are going to do? I mean, you've got Nurse Howe standing here sort of gesturing into her office. You could hear the conversation happening behind you. Nurse Nahi is walking into the office, not really thinking anything of that. She doesn't know Zephyra, so yeah. What are you guys doing?
From memory, Zephyra was the one that Dexter was interacting with. Yeah,
Zephyra was the owner of the Cloud Cave.
Boo.
Yeah, she's friendly with Dexter, fairly friendly. Yeah. Aurelie was the one who put on the fashion show, and she was the one who has Skydrape Silks, the rather exclusive high-end fashion store. Yeah, so Aurelie seems to have gone missing, and she was the one that was quite sick. Even at the fashion show, she was sort of coughing and spluttering and had guards there and stuff looking after her and stuff. And you visited her afterwards, and she didn't look particularly healthy or anything, but she was still at her shop, So something's happened in the last day or so. That you guys have been battling the Lost Loft of Wonders and visiting the Grimshroud district and finding out all that stuff from the Ziegler Mail. Something's happened.
Oh, good. Dexter's going to quietly kind of slip away from the group as they're going into the office and go up to Zephyra.
Okay. Yeah. So that's where Dexter's going. What's Taryn, what's Granny Sabinka doing?
Was Dexter doing this stealthily?
Yeah, I mean, you can roll stealth to see if the others even notice that you're disappearing.
Oh, wait, if I've got the cloak on, I get advantage on stealth rolls. Oh, everything's coming up Millhouse.
Mm-hmm.
That is a natural 20.
Nice.
Ooh,
okay.
nice.
Yeah. Nobody notices.
Reason.
Literally nobody notices whether you're there or not there. They have no concept of where Dexter is right now.
Yeah, because they have no concept of Severin.
They have no concept of Severin. Who the hell is Severin? No idea.
Severin pulls the boat.
It's so smooth that actually Taryn and Granny don't even notice that you've left.
Oh, I also was going to say Taryn was still distracted from the letter, so she was just autopilot following whoever was in front, and if it was Nurse Nahi going in, she would have gone in.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, same with Granny was already going in, but she'd perk up her ears and commotion, a missing person, this is something I'm into, but seems like just another one of those people.
Yeah, you were recently one of those missing people. So. Yeah.
So I go with Nurse inside.
Okay, cool. So that means that Dexter, you're the only one that's heading over to the counter to follow the action and stuff. So we'll go into the office and come back to you, as Nurse Nahi and Taryn and Granny head into the office with her Nurse Hal. So she sort of gestures. You can see that it's like a well-appointed office designed to be quite like friendly and, welcoming and stuff. It's nice and bright in here, and there's lots of comfy-looking chairs around, a really clear desk. Nothing really on it at all, apart from like the basics, pens and bits and pieces, and a little plaque saying her name.
Like very organized, sort of.
Very organized, yeah. She's got like all these bookshelves and things behind her, but they're not like open bookshelves. They're all got like closed cabinetry to them. Yeah. So you can tell that it's like shelving and like storage and stuff, but it's not open. So it's clearly where she keeps like important records or whatever. Yeah. And behind her. And she sort of gestures to the chairs and she's like, sit. It's not very often we get visitors from Isen here in Celestial Center. So what brings you to our cloudy shores?
Well, we got a message regarding a patient that you may have been seeing. And it kind of aligned with things that we were just up here and happened to notice. So we thought we'd come and stop by.
You've got a message? And she seems like she frowns a little bit and seems kind of confused.
I pull out the letter from the patient, who I would assume would be here.
Yeah, so you pull out this letter, and it's actually from one of the nurses. Oh, yeah. It said Nurse Clara on it, but that didn't mean anything to you. You've never met a Nurse Clara before, right? But Nurse Hal looks at this and is like, oh, okay. Nurse Clara works in the difficult cases section of the Celestial Center. Hard to clarify. Things that we aren't entirely sure if they are magical or not.
Well, she said we might be able to help, so we just came here and wanted to make ourselves known that we can
certainly
help, or try help.
If Nurse Clara believes that you may be helpful, then I would direct you to her. And she sort of points, like there's a map like on her wall, and she sort of points to the map and kind of tells you how to get to that particular section. You see it's called the long-term section. And she sort of says to you, it's like cases that we aren't easily able to solve. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And Nurse Nahi, did Nurse Clara write to you? That seems unorthodox.
Well, we sent Nurse Nahi a letter, my other companion and I, a couple of days ago to ask for more advice. But, I mean, I've never met the good nurse here before, but she came up willing to help as well.
Oh, with this matter?
I guess so. Hi, I'm Taryn. I also haven't met you very well.
And Nurse Nahi has picked up on this, right? And it's just like, it's like she wasn't going to mention it in front of Nurse Al. But she was like, yes, well, I have known Granny Sabinka here for some time as a well-known patient of our Lakeside Hospital.
Thank you.
And Dexter also, and Bardley and Hamlet, of course. They, use me as a reference for difficult cases, and they believed that this was. And she's giving you, like, eyes, like the two of you, because the letter that you wrote her, well, that Dexter wrote her, was talking about some kind of, like, big wide illness that was happening up in the air, of people getting quite sick, and was talking about that, and she's very confused as to why suddenly you're talking about one patient. So she's sort of like trying to play it cool, but also like very confused. Yeah.
Well, to be fairness, Nahi, it's not the only reason. You remember when we came to Lakeside and we fixed everything and we are the heroes?
She says, and she gives you like a big knowing that the earth is still really toxic and everything is dying down there, for sure. She's
Can I roll insight?
We kind of tried.
That is a 16 on my insight.
Yeah, she's like, you did not fix shit. That's what she's thinking inside her head. But outwardly, she's trying really hard to be like, yeah, you totally fixed everything.
Okay,
but
Taryn's thinking she's being very judgmental right now. First impressions of this nurse.
And I'm giving the nurse like a line, like, don't blow my cover here.
Yeah, like she's giving particularly granny eyes, being like, what the hell? But okay.
There is a real problem. So listen, Nurse Nahi, there's actually a real problem here up in the air and up in the air. Sorry. And we just thought that two great minds of two great nurses should come together on this. Yeah, so there is a sickness here. Have you been briefed by your colleague here at all? We thought it would be good if you came down here and maybe
collaborate.
Lent a hand.
Right.
With that.
Yes. No. They wrote to me of some sickness that was overtaking the Air Kingdom, and I did wish to lend a hand. I mean, I have to admit there's a certain amount of professional curiosity in terms of what is going on here, but if I can help, then I will. And Nurse Howe replies very slowly, she takes a while to kind of respond to this and sort of says, no, there's no sickness here. I normal illnesses, people getting ill through usual means or some unusual when they mess around with magic, you know how that happens, but there's no pandemic or sweeping illness here.
Now I look at her the way Nurse Nahi was just looking at me. What about Aurelia? Aurelia? Did I say that right?
Aurelie, yeah.
Aurelie. What about Aurelie?
I don't believe we have a patient. I mean, I don't know every patient, but and then she sort of double claps and a screen blinks to life, near and scrolling writing, and she says, Aurelie. Sorry, what was the last name?
Oh, it was definitely one that I know.
Skydrape.
That one.
Right. Yes. Aurelie Skydrape. And you see dots kind of scrolling and various symbols kind of scrolling as clearly something is searching.
Yeah.
And then it comes up with no known patient.
All right, well, what about the sickness that a lot of people have and then they just seem to no longer be where they used to live?
And she's like we're kidnapping sick people? She's and she looks at Nurse Nahi and she just kind of we don't have enough patients. We have to go find them.
No patients.
Really, but are you sorry, I just want to roll insight on her, see if she's actually pretending not to know, or is she actually unaware?
Yeah.
Okay, we have 21.
Nice. She's definitely hiding something.
Oh.
Yeah, so she seems to be putting on no, there's no problem here, but there's a wee little tick in her eye that she was watching that scrolling screen with a lot more kind of intensity than someone who just is waiting for it to turn up a patient or not. She was waiting, and then she seemed kind of relieved when it came up with no known patient. It was that kind of a moment as well.
Can I just ask, I'm gonna ask Nurse Howe. Nurse Howe, does this contraption also find records of the symptoms of the people who come here?
Oh, certainly. It tracks for, similarities in symptoms to see if we've got some kind of virus sleeping through their kingdom or something like that. I'm sure Lakeside Hospital has similar, and she's Nurse Nahi is yeah, absolutely. If a lot of patients are coming in presenting the same thing, we track it to its source. Makes sense.
That's fantastic. And then Granny just describes, hey, screen, and describes the illness. Can you tell me how many people you have with coughing and what was it? Weakness. Taryn, help me here. I am very old.
I'm very. Insight check on the DM for symptoms.
I'll take a history check
do they sound like Julz?
to remember the things that you've been told.
Oh my god.
It's been a while. That's 15 for me for history.
8 for me. Oh, can I use my library knowledge?
You wouldn't have researched this in the library, to be frank.
Okay.
Because this isn't like a known thing, if that makes sense.
No, that's fair.
I don't like to tell you no, but like you wouldn't.
No, that's fine.
Yeah. Sorry. What did Taryn get?
A 15.
A 15. Okay. So with a 15, you remember that essentially people started off almost like cold-like symptoms, flu-like or something like that, like very virusy, very sort of attack the immune system, sort of reactionary in the lungs. You see a lot of that. But then it's not just weakness, like people stopped being able to do anything. Like they're almost like their brain function stopped and then they just stopped living.
Yeah.
You know, like they just went so downhill that there was no life left in these people.
Okay. I relay that to the nurses and Granny.
She passes some of this, like, kind of, you know, symptoms on. And initially you see a lot. You know, like when she's describing symptoms, like as coldy, flu-y kind of lung capacity, there's a lot, right? And then as you sort of say, like, oh, yeah, but they, you know, this was terminal. You see almost none recorded in the system.
Does the system record births at the hospital or people that come in for general checkups?
Yeah.
Like, surely this is the main hospital for births.
Yeah. You also, to be fair, you also see quite a lot of people that have been labelled as returned to home, you know, like released back.
Yeah.
You know, after their symptoms have improved or whatever. And yes, the system also records like births. And
So anyone born on the Sky Kingdom would most likely be born here. So if the children and the citizens are born here, why is there no record of orally in your system, even if they're not a current patient?
Oh, you want back history?
Well,
I thought you were asking if she was here.
Well, just a general, if she's here, or...
Oh, certainly. And she sort of like spins in the air, and the system kind of like scrolls, and then it brings up like Aurelie's birth date and who her parents were, and you know, like,
do any of the symptoms kind of
stuff.
match with her record now that we have them up on the system?
Yeah, so you don't really actually. I mean, she was admitted for a couple of, you know, like she broke a leg or she did this kind of stuff, but like you don't see any admissions for like a flu-like symptom at all. And
Okay.
there's no recent admissions either. Like nothing in the last, you know, 2 or 3 years.
Okay.
Alright, so can I sidebar with Taryn?
Mm-hmm.
Like, Taryn, this is just sorry, nurses.
Enjoy your drink. We'll be in the corner.
Taryn, why wouldn't this woman come to the hospital? Do you have any ideas?
I have no
are
clue.
they afraid?
Either they don't like needles or they've scrubbed the records of any attending. We could see quickly if the wife of the other guy may have had a similar sort of gap in the knowledge. The guy with the cloak, because she went missing. Maybe there's a period of time that's also not in the hospital.
Kale Nightwing.
Kale
guy.
Nightwing, got him.
Mr. Nightwing.
I haven't met Mr. Kale, but
It was interesting.
You
Okay.
did meet him before you got kidnapped because he
Did
was
I?
one of the other.
Very briefly. before
Yeah,
this swoop.
he was one of the other contestants in the fashion show.
Look, I had a lot going on in the meantime, okay? Kind of
You
some
did.
things.
Yeah.
You had a very
Yeah.
busy...
So we'll leave the sidebars in a sidebar, though the 2 sidebars in a sidebar, as they sort of discuss like why wouldn't, you know, Aurelie be in the system and if Kale's wife might have been in the system, and we'll wander over to see what Dexter is doing. As Dexter,
moving away from the party, the ultimate sidebar.
Absolutely. As you sneak out of the office and like properly almost get forgotten. It's very odd how stealthy you are. Like they just,
Dexter.
it's like it's just like they kind of
a figure of himself.
yeah, like they just kind of assume you're still with them. It's not like they notice that you left. It's just that they assume you're just still standing there and you just haven't spoken. You know, it's almost like that.
I'm still going to take that personally. Why are you not noticing that Dexter's not there? You mentioned Dexter in the conversation and didn't think to look around.
Dexter's surprisingly quiet at the moment. What are you thinking?
We talk a lot in front of people.
What do you think about this, Dexter? You never ask. That's why you don't know.
Yeah. So
What's your mother's name?
as you kind of walk away from this conversation, you can hear, like, again, you're getting closer back to reception. You can hear again, like, Zephyra more and more stressed, being like, "Look again, because you took her. The palace, the castle doctors took her. Like, they came to Skydrape Silks, and they said that they were going to get her the best care possible because she was a valued member of the Air Kingdom, and you took her. So why isn't... What are you saying to me? This doesn't make sense." And she's just getting more and more, like, upset and stressed, and yeah. So what do you do?
Hey, Zephyr, bring it in.
And she turns to you and she just grabs you like a drowning woman. Like, grabs at you to be like, "Oh, Dexter, they've like lost her in the system or something. They've called her a different name. Oh my, what? She's got to be here. Maybe if we just look room by room."
That might take a while. Maybe we could narrow it down. Where would they put the most valuable? And he's gonna like look around to the receptions. Where would they put like the most valuable people in the Cloud Society?
Yeah, this receptionist is looking at you with wide panic eyes. Like,
hey, I'm the calm one. I'm dealing with the situation. Any help you can give me would be greatly appreciated.
Well, I mean, if the royal caregivers took her to the Celestial Center, then they would be on the top floor in the suites. Because if the royals took her, then that's where the royal, like, the caregivers go.
Okay.
But I can't find record of her. And she looks at you with big panic eyes. Like, I swear I did all of the records and she wasn't in the listings.
Look, that's fine. I believe that you, and no offense, a receptionist of a hospital did not steal one of the most important people in the Cloud Kingdom. I believe you.
Oh, God. She's like, "Oh, God, I'm going to get fired, aren't I?"
Well, that's not up to me. I could put in a good word if you want, but outside of that, I don't know if I have a lot of sway in the hospital community. Do you have some kind of magic box to get up to the top floor?
Oh, yes. The up, down, sideways box. Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yes. It's just around the corner, down the hallway and to the right. Yes, and you need to intentionalize where you want to go. There's buttons, but the buttons don't really do anything, if you know what I mean.
I truly hate them, but that's what I do for you, Zephyr. Let's go look at some of the sweeps at the top, see if we can find your sister.
Sorry, I'm really scared now about losing people. Could you just please sign in?
No, I'm not really a signing in kind of person. I move like a shadow or a stone skimming across the surface of a pond. And as Dexter says, he's just going to keep moving.
Yeah, Zephyr goes, "I'll sign in because clearly you lose records because clearly my sister is here."
Well, then what's the point of signing in if they're just going to lose
and
it?
she deliberately, like, pricks her finger on the little, like, there's a little, like, prick pad, essentially. And you see her prick her finger on it. And then immediately, in letters, like, above the reception desk is Zephyr Skydrape and a little bit of, like, scrolling medical history of the times that she's been in here and stuff. She's like, "Oh, embarrassing. Don't look at that." You can see, like...
Can I do a perception check to see the most embarrassing thing?
Sure.
Hooray. What's my perception? It's been so long. 17.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, you see an incident recorded from when she was younger, but not like that long ago, actually, grand scheme.
She's quite young now.
Yeah, where she tripped over, like it doesn't say what she tripped over, but smashed her 2 front teeth, and actually her 2 front teeth are like replacement teeth. They're not like her original teeth. They're like a plate, you know? Yeah, that she has to put in. And she sees you clocking it, and she's like, oh. Like little face crumples.
I'll say for the record, you can't tell. Your front teeth look very cute.
And she pulls them out and she's like, this is what I thought when I don't have my teeth in them. So this is really embarrassing, you know?
That is considerably less cute. Please keep your teeth in your head as we go about this hospital.
And she like clinks them back in and she's like, I told you it's the worst. And she's like, but Orly made fun of me for years. And she like, you know, kind of like gets to the up, down, sideways box. And she's like, intentionalized, right? We're going to the top. And you just see like, yeah, you just see like a row of buttons. It's like 3 by 3 by 3. It doesn't seem to make really any sense. And they've just got symbols on them. There's no numbers or letters or anything. It's just like random symbols. So, you know, it seems to need a button to move, but yeah.
There's no button that looks particularly move-like.
No, it's just this row of 3 by 3.
Zephyr, can you read these strange buttons? I'm out of my element here.
No. This one looks kind of like a crown. Maybe this one?
Dexter hits the crown one.
Yeah, it doesn't really look like a crown, but she was like, it kind of looks like a crown. You know, like...
No, he's supporting his girl. Let's go.
Yeah. And so you press that and yeah, zip, zip, zip. It moves in the strangest way. Like it moves up and down and sideways and a little bit diagonal and then, you know, on a weird kind of diagonal upwards angle, like a right angle triangle. Yeah, this thing like seems to sort of whoop, 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 whoop. And then the
box
doors
goes up, box goes down, box goes up. Check it all about.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's like the hokey pokey. Yeah. The box does the hokey pokey. And then the doors open and you find yourself on like this great big, like lovely, luxurious hallway with plants and cedars and, you know, like magazine tables and stuff. And then you can see doors going into like larger rooms where people are walking around and they seem to be like, you know, a bedroom plus like a sitting room in each of these areas. Yeah.
Is there anything that looks like this area's forbidden, cordoned off? Is there a sign saying like nurses only? Or
no, not particularly, but it definitely doesn't look terribly busy.
Yeah.
Like there are people in the rooms, but there's like not a whole load of people walking around and coming and going. It's very like people are in their room. Yeah.
They're gonna turn to Zephyr and be like, are we doing this stealthily? Do we want to just call out her name a whole bunch of times and see if she hears us?
You're asking Zephyr that she's already halfway down the hallway.
Oh.
Arlie!
That has answered my question.
Yep, and she's getting no reply. And she's sort of like walking up and down this hallway, like looking for Orly in all of the rooms, just barging into rooms, and she's getting like, you know, little shrieks of people that are half dressed or, you know, like things like that, or get out of my room, you know.
They're just crying behind, like, sorry, very emotional, lost a sister,
yeah.
So terribly sorry.
Yeah, but she gets.
You should get that checked out. Sorry.
Yeah, she's like, what do you think I'm doing here?
Oh, you're right.
You get to the end of the hallway and no Orly. Yep.
Man, as someone that's used to solving their problems through violence, this is quite the predicament. I can't punch my way out of this one, and that's... I was going to say that's the real tragedy, but it's really not. We've got to find Orly.
You do see a nurse whose eyes sort of widen a little bit as she sees you, particularly Dexter, walk past. But she's busy with a patient right now. Like, she's busy sort of doing something, but she clocks you and she sort of follows you all the way down the hallway, even though she's like, you know, her eyes follow you all the way down the hallway. Even though she's busy with the patient, she's busy with it at the moment. That's about the only thing that you really notice that's out of the ordinary.
Dexter has a water skin as part of his adventuring gear. He's going to... I don't know. I've seen people in the kingdom drink liquids, right?
Yes.
Okay, he's gonna hand it to Zephyr, be like, go sit on that bench over there. I'm gonna ask around, see what we can find here, and if not, we might have to look a bit more far afield.
And she looks at you with sort of tears building, just sort of quivering on that, bottom eyelid, and she's okay.
I know. We'll find her. It'll be okay.
Oh.
She nods and she just sort of sits down and she's taking like careful sips, and you can see her like hard in thought as she sits there for a second. Yeah.
Dexter's gonna go up to this nurse that clocked him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like, she just sort of holds up like a finger to you while she finishes her conversation. She's like, yes, absolutely. We'll do all of the checks. Absolutely. That's why you're here in the best of care. Yeah. Yep. No, and I'll get right on that. Yes, absolutely. I'll get your servants to bring the new lingerie. And she sort of like ushers like out of the room and just sort of closes the door behind her, and she's just, you kind of see her like reset customer face, and she turns to you and she's like, sidebar, right? One of the sidebars? I'm sure that the description, the giant wooden spoon and the tall lanky boy, that's you, right?
I mean, I prefer ruggedly handsome, but I'll take lanky. Yes, Dexter Clementine, nice to meet you.
Please tell me you've come to see Nyrixia.
Is that an illness?
I wrote you. I wrote you all at the Without Wings where you were staying, right? And after the whole incident, and you were under house arrest at the Without Wings, that's how I found out where you were staying. And I wrote you and I asked you to come to see Nyrixia. She hasn't spoken since the incident, and I thought maybe seeing the people who got her out of there alive might help.
Dexter's gonna rummage in his robe to see if he can find this letter.
Yeah.
I got the letter.
I was gonna say, I think
for the podcast audience, I'm doing like the act out of kind of just like patting himself down and just like, oh yeah, the letter, yeah. This is kind of like a two birds with one stone kind of thing. I'm also looking for a patient that we've been told is not here, but we're fairly confident might be around somewhere. And I thought, yeah, while I'm here, I'll also follow up on your thing. This person hasn't spoken since the incident. Tell me about that. What has caused this?
Well,
I'm also not a doctor. I don't know if you think the sidebars are doctors.
She laughs and she says, no. It was more that she seems to have gotten herself into some kind of deep darkness, and I thought seeing somebody who helped her might pull her out. I mean, it's not traditional medicine, but sometimes people can help more than drugs can.
So this makes it sound like Dexter has met this person before.
Yeah, and you have no idea.
A lot has happened. Yeah.
You've never heard the name Nyrixia before.
Right.
And
I thought I was just
genuinely.
thinking
No. Yeah. I mean, contextual clues, you might be able to start putting some things together, potentially, but you've never heard the name before.
You've got to forgive me. A lot's happened. The sidebars were very busy people, as you can understand. I'm trying to piece where I would know them from. Are they a big fan of the band Caves?
The fashion show.
Oh. So, like recently, we're not going that far back. Amazing. The fashion show's a bit of a blur. We didn't do great.
Well, I mean, you stopped it. You saved a lot of people. I mean...
very true.
It sounds like the dress she was wearing was trying to kill a lot of people.
Oh, she was the model in the dress. Unfortunately, a lot happened. I didn't get names, as you could imagine. But yeah, I can definitely see this person and see if I can get them out of their dress-induced comatose state. Yeah,
I mean, I can't tell you how much it means that you actually turned up. I mean, everybody says writing to heroes is like a stupid thing to do because they only are in it if there's money and fame, but there's no money and fame in this. It's just a person that needs help,
I've never been one for fame. I like to stay quiet and anonymous, like a shadow or a stone skimming across a pond.
Well, I mean, we can walk to her room now. I mean, you said that you're looking for someone. Maybe I can help you find them on the way. I mean, we have records, and she brings up like this, essentially a tablet kind of, that she's tapping on. She's like, we have records of everybody that's ever been admitted here. Like, I can tell you where they're found, maybe?
Yes, we were talking to the receptionist who didn't seem like they were coming up in those records. Do you have any physical ones? Any ones that are a bit more in-depth?
Oh, no, everything's clocked to blood. As soon as you're clocked in with the check-in, then, we register your medical accounts against that.
Could somebody be brought to the hospital and not checked in?
It would be very unusual. I mean, it would be like they were trying to hide that they were at the hospital at all.
And if you were hypothetically trying to hide someone at the hospital and not checking them in, where would the best place to do that be?
I actually don't know. I mean, most of us nurses, we have our sections. I'm on long-term and, the Bridge and Famous. Those are my two sections, but there's no real section where somebody doesn't go. I've been through every section in the hospital in order to get the shifts I do here. I mean, they're elitist, but they pay well,
Exactly. Fame and money, as you say. Well, Nurse Letter, I'll do my best to help your situation, and then...
Clara. Yeah. Nurse Clara.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I said. You can prove it. And, then hopefully you can help me with my situation. Let me just check in with the person I'm helping here as well, so I'm not just suddenly disappearing.
Do you know who brought them in? Maybe that will help me with my... I can look while you're bringing your person.
I was told the guards of the Cloud Kingdom.
The Royal Guards?
Sounds right.
Well, the Royal Guards bring most of the people here. So, what's their name?
Orally Skydrape.
And tap, brings up the same records as down below. And scroll. We haven't seen Orally in years. Huh.
That's what the records are saying. But, and forgive me if this is heresy, I think the records are wrong. And I think that she is somewhere here. And I think that, Nurse Clara, you can help me find her.
And she leans in really close to you and goes, and the Royal Guards came?
Can Dexter look across to Zephyr and just be like, come here, get over here.
Yeah. Zephyr sort of stands up, gesture, after you gesture, and comes over to the nurse and, what?
Zephyr, this is Nurse Clara, a good friend of mine, who is going to help us find your sister if I help them out with a little matter here at the hospital.
I knew she was here somewhere. I mean, the Royal Guards don't just kidnap people. That would be ridiculous, she's got to be here somewhere, right? I'm just on the wrong floor. And Nurse Clara looks at her, with, again, big wide starting to panic eyes.
This is why you never write the heroes.
Yeah.
Instantly regretting it.
Yeah, and is like, so the Royal Guards turned up to bring your sister here. And that's where they said they were going? And she's like, Zephyr is like, yeah, to the Celestial Center, to the best care in the whole kingdom, because Orally is special, as everybody knows. And she nods, and she's like, yes, everybody knows. You couldn't hide Orally. And she's like, there's no records of her entering the building, so she had to have entered the building without getting a prick, or she never entered the building at all. And Zephyr is like, but where else would she go? Like, wait, you're like, it's the Royal Guards. And they both turn to look out of the window where you can clearly see the castle district.
I am now less confident in my thought that she is here at the hospital.
Yeah. They both turn to look at Tepo, which is what they know, what the Air Kingdom calls the castle district, or the capital. of Air Kingdom. It's a gated, walled off area where it only opens to the residents of the Air Kingdom at certain times. And you know that one of these times is coming up very soon, as the Erika Festival, which you obviously will be in attendance for, because as the winners of the Sky Kingdom's fashion show...
Did we move up from 2 to 1?
Yes, you did. Mainly because the other people pulled the hell out after the events.
I don't fault them.
What happened. Yeah. You know that you're going to be invited to display your outfit as part of the festivities. Not like the main part of the festivities, but like a part of the festivities. You're going to be granted access to Tepo to show off your outfit as part of the festival. And they both stare at the castle district. And they start having a very fast conversation together. Zephyr is like, no, the rumors can't be true. And like, you know, Nurse Clara is like, no, I mean, I swear, everybody that comes through here, it's impossible to not get checked in. It's literally impossible. Everybody gets blooded as they walk in the door, like everybody. And they're just standing there like, you know, like back and forth being like, no, this can't actually be a thing. The rumors have got to be false. There's no stealing of people. And then they're like, but the people have been going missing. You know they've been going missing. And some of them were registered as being sick before they went missing. And she's like, yeah, but my sister didn't like hospitals. It was the whole thing after she broke her leg and the anesthetic and the blow up and the anaphylactic shock and stuff. You know, she hated hospitals. It's all on record. Yeah, I know. So if she was sick, she probably didn't come here. So she's not registered as sick. So they probably could have stolen her without actually registering her as sick. And they both like look at each other with these big they're both like big panic eyes now, you know? And they turn to look at Dexter being like, look, there's always been rumors. Always been rumors. But there's never been any verification because nobody is ever found. They just go missing.
To what end? Are they trying to keep something quiet?
I don't know. Even Nurse Howe always says that there's no like pandemic, there's no sweeping illness, but I've seen so many people getting sick.
We've seen the same thing as well, and I'd imagine a Cloud King would want to keep that under wraps.
I mean, nobody's going to want to tell their citizens that the whole kingdom is going to be sick and die, right?
I can imagine
there's early records. I know there's early records because I studied them. Like Nurse Clara is telling you about, like, you know, studies that she's done about like people that just got sick for no reason, no cure. They just got sick and died, like almost apathy. Like they just ran out of energy and breath.
Yeah, same thing happens to architecture students at uni. So you're telling me like there aren't records of the strange cloud disease now, like they've been wiped?
Well, they always release people back home. There's no deaths in the hospital. And they chalk it up to just like a common cold, which, you know, is resolved with, you know, rest, Panadol and Strepsils, you know. Strepsils apparently exist in Isen.
I was gonna same with Panadol. Okay, so there are no deaths at the hospital from it because everyone was released. Is there still a record of people being brought in with this mysterious
a lot of
flu-like?
records of people being brought in with breathlessness, tired, headaches. But, I mean, that
do you know
is
how many?
Also the cold. Like, and loads of people recover from that.
That's true. Is there a period of time where there were a lot, like more than you would expect amongst a kind of cold season?
She was like, it really only started maybe 20 years ago. There was more people than ever. People were complaining of pressure inside their heads to start with. Like a weird pressure. Yeah, I mean, I was barely in nappies back then, you know? Barely out of nappies back then.
So for 20 years, this strange illness has been happening. Does that mean for 20 years they've been kidnapping people?
I doubt it. Someone would have noticed, right? I mean, I've been working here for like 8 years, but I've never seen people being kidnapped. But there's always been rumors of people going missing. But mostly just, poor people, and we just assume they're just stowing away on the ships to Earth or water or somewhere. Getting out of here, change their lives.
It's all very mysterious.
But you can't disappear someone like, and she's whispering again, like Gourley. She runs Skydrape silks. Everybody dreams about wearing one of her dresses.
That may be where they messed up.
And Zephyr is like, oh, they messed up. They messed up by not taking me.
Yes.
For the record, I'm glad they didn't take you. But I understand.
Punches you in the shoulder, and it's actually quite hard. She doesn't mean for it to be hard, but she's like, she's sort of shut up. Yeah, I'll roll. See if it actually damages you. She gets a 15. Does a 15 hit?
Means beats.
Yeah, so she
fair enough. Try to dodge out of the way.
Yeah, it's full unarmed strike, right? She's not trying to hurt you. She just sort of accidentally she only does 2 damage to you. There you go.
What?
She gives you kind of a sore arm and quite a big bruise. She doesn't mean to, but she's all hyped up about her sister, Yeah. Yeah, okay.
Crime-fighting duo.
Maybe.
So as you as you're talking about some of this, you've in the up, down, sideways box again. And Nurse Clara pops open the door and she's like, anyway, did you mean what you say when you were here for Nixaria as well?
Yes, I will uphold my end of the bargain, the other bird and the other stone, and I'll take a look over her.
Okay.
I can't promise I'll be able to do anything, but I'll figure it out. Improv.
Okay. And we're gonna quickly switch back to the others as you walk down the hallway to a darkened room. This room particularly, it's odd because most of this hospital is airy and bright, and they recognize light actually helps healing and things like this, but this room is dark, pitch black. Yeah. So you walk towards this room, and we're going to switch back to Granny and Taryn. What are you guys up to?
Granny? Where's Dexter? We're still in the sidebar.
Sure, he's just... What? Oh my.
He was right here. He's been here the whole time. Why would he disappear now?
Alright, so... sorry, nurses. If you say you can tell anyone is here in this hospital by the records, find me Dexter Clementine.
And she types that in, and it comes back with patient unknown.
Oh dear.
See, and we know for a fact he is here. He was right
the
behind
hospital.
us. And where is he?
She's like, well, I don't know. All I can tell you is that we've never registered a check-in from someone called Dexter Clementine.
Right.
And
What
Nurse Nahi
happened?
is like, it's fine, I'll share my records. And she shares, Lakeside Hospital's records. And then Nurse Howell searches again and still finds nothing because Dexter never clocked into Lakeside either.
Alright, so
Like
that's
a
a bus.
stone on a pond,
And
everybody.
Nurse Nahi is like, what do you mean I never made them clock in? Now she's judging herself.
Trying to be
With
more high
existential
and
dread.
mighty. She's gonna look down at this other nurse how could you just
And-
not let them clock? Oh.
Yeah, and Nurse Nahi goes, no, it's fine. Search Granny Sabinka, and Nurse Howell searches Granny Sabinka, and your records come up. Your blood work and shit that you didn't even know was on record. It all comes up. Yeah,
Oh my.
you're
I
actually
don't think I get
surprisingly
my real
healthy. Yeah,
Oh, yes. Well, I am actually not meant to look like an old woman.
yeah.
It's just the strain of raising 50 grandkids. Alright, well, we can safely say that even if you say you have everybody, these are air quotes for those listening at home, everybody's in your system.
She pushes like a blood prick across to Taryn. She's like, "You're water, aren't you? You come from the float."
I do, yeah. Well, nearby, but...
Do you feel like registering yourself just because, while we're here talking about it?
I mean, I don't want to get lost in the system. How can you, make sure that I won't get lost?
Well, once you're registered to the system, I can share it with every hospital in the entire of Isen.
Why would you do that?
Yeah.
Do you press your finger onto the little prick pad?
Honestly, yeah. I think Taryn would probably just do it, just absent-mindedly.
Yeah.
Well, my point...
It's a middle finger, though. We're gonna stick it to the system.
That'll show him.
So I rolled to see what the system learns from your blood work. And I rolled a nat 20. So the system flashes up with an amazing amount of material, considering, that you only just pricked your finger. It's registered a whole load of different things, and it actually registers the most interesting thing it flashes up, because it probably registers a whole lot of different injuries you've had over your lifetime. You can say what they are, different injuries you had as a kid, or what different illnesses.
Skinned kneecaps.
Yeah, every time you've ever visited a hospital in the float, essentially. Cool. Or a doctor, or, a healer, or anything like that.
Yeah.
But it also registers you as Arcana infected.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's
and
different.
It comes up in big, bright, letters. And both Nurse Nahi and Nurse Hal stare at that, and then stare at and look at you.
I just look up at the sign, and I'm like, oh, that's... What is that?
It looks as if you got gout. There.
I know. I have to wash my hands more, or feet more, or whatever.
Nurse Nahi turns to look at you and says, "That means that you have been in contact with a strange magical entity or object or something, which has made an imprint and a mark on you." I
can't think of any moment that would have happened. There's been no creatures or no items or...
Roll deception because Taryn knows that she's talked to a water guardian of a water stone, has connected with a water stone, is currently carrying a very strange magic book.
Got a weird book?
Well, that is a 17 plus 2 for a 19 on deception.
Nice. Okay. They just go, that's weird.
And I know, right?
And Nurse Nahi goes, "Are you sure your system's not broken, Nurse Hal? I mean, you've lost patients, and you're registering her as Arcana infected. This is."
Do you normally get things like that, or
And Nurse Hal is just absolutely shell shocked. She's like, "I've never had our system be incorrect before. I think I'm going to have to run entire." Diagnostics.
Yeah. I mean, do you get many water people up here? I don't. It might be something that is just not programmed into the system yet.
I mean, when we had the Floatess here visiting the ruler on high, she deigned to prick herself. I mean, I'm not going to show you her records because we promised to keep them private at all times, but she didn't register as Arcana infected.
Oh. Weird.
Huh. And they all just kind of... Okay. And anyway, Nurse Nahi goes, "Anyway, I think we've kept you enough. If there's no illness here, then I guess my help is not needed. I will simply be a tourist in your fine kingdom and enjoy the offerings before taking jaunty Tunes Bessie back to Lakeside."
Well, why don't you guys catch up for a little bit? And Granny, shall we go and follow the letter since we're here? And that was one of the other reasons to come to the hospital.
That's not a bad idea, but Nurse Nahi, can we meet after at the inn and
Oh, certainly. I
talk
have
to you some more
a
about the
room
old
there
times.
engaged. Yes.
Fantastic.
I'll look forward to it. I wanted to do some picking up of trinkets. I have a few nieces and nephews waiting on.
Can I also just insight Nurse Nahi to see if she's like in league with the other nurse?
Yeah, sure.
With the deception.
See if she's
hiding?
giving you like more you vibes than the nurse vibes. Yeah.
Yeah, 23.
Nurse Nahi is acting in a way that you haven't seen her act before, really. Like, she's very reserved. Like, you remember her being quite like, you know, this is what's happening once she knew that you were in league with her and returning the Earthstone. Like, there's a certain way that like you and her have a certain communication because she can be free with you. She's never told anybody about the Earthstone and the Earth Pillar in that room, but you know it. So she can tell you a lot more than she's ever told anybody, right? And she's acting very strangely with this lady, like very like politely reserved.
Okay.
You know, like
So
very
it's like she sees it too. Okay.
yeah. And she, when you say to her like, "Can we meet up later and chat about old times and stuff?" She sort of gives you like a yeah, we need to talk. Like you can see it on her face, like we need to talk about what we've learned here today. But and then she just turns back around to Nurse Howe and gives her a big grin and is like, "Oh, can I get a tour while I'm here?" You know?
Yeah. Awesome. And I give Taryn like little eyebrow bumps.
Eyebrows, yeah. Eyebrow work.
Yeah.
Cool.
I am
And
doing
so
it
you-
in real time for you listening at home.
Yeah, eyebrows are going. All the eyebrows.
So you make your way to the up-down room to make your way to the area where she indicated the long stay was.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
So you probably turn up at about the same time as Dexter actually does. It's weird. Like, Dexter, you walk out of the up-down sideways box and you arrive on the floor, and then immediately behind you the doors open and Taryn and Granny are standing there. And you could have sworn, like, there's absolutely no time for that up-down box to have gone anywhere else and then arrived here. So, yeah.
Oh, that's why I hate them. Hey guys!
Where were
how we
you?
doing? Around.
I mean, you disappeared so quickly. We thought you were in the room with us for probably a good 5-10 minutes.
Yeah, you really should speak up for yourself more often.
Yeah.
It's hard to do that when I'm not there.
What did you think of the conversation with the two nurses? Did you agree with everything that they said?
Again, I'm not like lying to you that I was there in the room. I wasn't. I slipped away before you guys went in there.
Really? To do what?
So I ask you, was that a good conversation with the two nurses? How are they?
Zephyra waves. And she's like, "Hi." Like,
Zephyr needed me.
sad wave, like, you know? Yeah.
I had to stop her from murdering a receptionist.
Yeah, I was probably going to do that, honestly. Yeah, Dexter kind of stopped me. She, this time, doesn't punch Dexter, just kind of, like, touches him on the shoulder. Yeah.
I wish to insight check the touch.
Okay.
A lot of insight this episode.
Oh, honestly, so
okay.
much.
Is anyone tracking what we're rolling for the most? Because I feel like it's inside.
It is today. 15 for insight.
Okay. Yeah, you definitely clocked that Zephyr feels like warm towards Dexter right now, but is also like really stressed and really upset.
Yeah, I'll turn to Granny
You know?
and do a couple more eyebrows and then turn back to the conversation.
Does Dexter see
He
this?
returns the eyebrows.
So I guess roll perception to see if you see the eyebrows.
Oh my. Probably not because I'm blind.
9?
Oh no, it's 7. Oh.
Okay, neither Granny or Dexter see the eyebrows, so it's just Taryn making eyebrows, and Zephyr going, "Are you okay, Taryn?"
It's like doing a high five with yourself.
Yeah, Zephyr rolled really well to see the eyebrows, so she's like, "Are you okay, Taryn?"
Oh,
Like,
yeah, no, something in my eye. Just, it's gone
Okay.
now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I mean, so is Aurelie. So
Really?
there's that. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
not good. What happened?
Well, I mean, the royal palace guards, the Tepo guards, came and got her. She was getting worse, and she refused to go to the hospital because she's early and she doesn't like to leave her shop, and she doesn't really trust doctors or anything after the whole... Anyway,
Does that explain why she hasn't been here in a number of years?
Well, yeah, if you actually looked at her last records, she had a really bad reaction to the drugs they gave her, and it was almost worse than the things she came in for. It was not good. Anyway, but we know that, and we manage that now, and she was just sick, you know? She was just gonna have to rest and take care of herself and stop working so hard. And then the Palace Guards came in because of the show and stuff, and she'd been working too hard, and they said that they would take her to the best place for her to be, which is here in the suites, and she's not here. And she sort of like her voice breaks, and her face crumples a little bit, and she's like, but anyway, like, Dexter's here, and Dexter's gonna help me find her, because he promised.
Of course.
Like Dexter.
That's the...
But we're finding some other lady from the show right now.
Yes, I was going to say, you guys are magic-y people that have magical abilities. The person in the fashion show that had the dress on them that attacked us is apparently in this hospital in, like, not a good state.
The model.
Yes. And so I at least promised from my side to help. But if we're together as the sidebars, I mean, this seems like something we should tackle together as the sidebars.
This is the same person from the letter from the nurse?
Oh, I'm... And Nurse Clara raises her hand. She's like, I'm that nurse. My name's Nurse Clara. I wrote to you because I thought maybe you could help. Like, you saved her life. Maybe you could pull her from this?
Of course, that's what heroes do. And
she sighs like really deeply. She's like, it seems more of a in her mind case than a physical. I know the world keeps moving and you're pulled in 1,000 directions, but she just hasn't, not since that night. Her body lives, but her breath returns, but something else hasn't come back. And she looks into this dark room, like absolutely pitch black, and I see her dreams drift out of her when she sleeps. I know she's dreaming. I can't help it. It's just kind of what I am. I pick up on these things, and I hear things, it's hard to turn off that. Wind remembers? You wouldn't know. You're not air. But what I hear from her, it's not just pain. It's a warning. It's whispers knotted like thread. It's ancient and awake. Whatever attacked her, it left pieces inside of her. She says nothing to me, nothing to anybody. But you were there, right? Like, her before she put the dress on, and I can't find anybody else who knew her. I just think she needs that to remind her that she wasn't always just something to wear, something. Please just speak to her and before what's inside her decides to speak instead. I feel it. It's there.
Okay, doke.
We'll
Ready?
do our best.
Yeah, and she waits outside. She's like, I can't. I feel everything. I can't.
Oh my god, are you an empath?
What?
I think these weird fairy creatures that I heard about in a fairy tale.
An empath. I don't really know what I am. I know that I was called to the nursing. She shrugs.
That's
Okay,
very
you're
cool.
a nurse. That's what you need.
And she kind of gestures into the room where you can see this like figure, like just lit by the hallway light, sort of lying on this bed with a sheet over her, just pulled up. Yeah.
Does the room need to stay dark? Or can we put a little bit of light into it?
She seems to react to light. I don't know if it's good or bad.
I'm going to put one dancing light as a dim light source for us to see her properly.
Okay. Yeah, and you can see, like, her face seems to be, like, pulled up in pain. And she seems to be sort of twitching. And
Cool. I'll hold the light at the back of as far away as possible while still giving some light.
I am thoroughly out of my depth with the spooky stuff. Did either of you have any spells, like abilities that could draw darkness out of a woman?
Certainly, you can use a healing spell, although I'm sure that the...
and you hear a scoff from the hallway.
As if they hadn't tried it.
Well, it's a better option than my shocking grasp to sort of like jolt her awake.
It's a better option than my frostbite to kind of like just chill it out.
Are you talking in this room?
I might grab her hand just at the side.
I feel like we're doing a sidebar.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're doing a sidebar, and then Taryn, do you actually grab her hand?
I'm going to grab her hand and maybe do an arcana check.
Okay.
13.
You definitely know she's in the grasp of something magical. It seems to be traces of magic. Not like full spell, not like, completely taken over, but like there's something lingering here.
Nyrexia, can you hear us?
And as you grab her hand and you say her name and call her, she grabs your hand with a desperate strength, opens her eyes wide, and looks sort of like at you, but also kind of past you and through you, and just sort of says, "It wore me. It wore me. It wasn't a curse. It was a vessel, a mouth. There are others. The threads are still spinning. The dresses are still waiting. Skin and shadow sticked with hunger. They call themselves the Woven Court, and they're waking. It's not just fashion. It's just the first parade." And that's the end of the episode.
It's not a face, Mum. This is my life. It's not just fashion.
That wasn't creepy at all.
So, thank you for joining us on our adventure today. We hope to see you again soon. If you are listening to this podcast on the podcast app of your choice, maybe come along to the live stream to catch the action directly as it happens when we can get it working. We stream every second Wednesday at 7:30 NZDT, and we would love to see you there. Many amazing people are involved with the production of this podcast, and I'm incredibly grateful for their hard work and dedication every single episode. I want to give a big shout out to my partner in crime, Brad Zimmerman, editor of the polished episodes you hear and responsible for the design of World of Isen and Book One, the original creator of the World of Isen wiki, and I'm very grateful that I just did a big update to Book 2, Fate of Isen wiki. So if you want to know about NPCs and places and things that our sidebars have been up to, you can head along to the wiki to find out more about what they've been doing. Thanks to Amy Ward Art, our glitteriest moderator, keeping live streams chat a wholesome and hilarious place to be, and trying really hard to fix our live stream technical difficulties today. Apologies that we were not able to live stream at this episode. We just couldn't get it to work. I'll do a whole lot of work on it in the next 2 weeks, and we'll see you again in 2 weeks' time. Thank you to Samsara, who set up all of our OBS Streamlabs. I may need your help setting up OBS if Streamlabs is now going to perform it. Thanks to Haunted Sandwich for the character art they designed for our sidebars, Aiden Messer Photography for capturing our players in real life. We are proud members of Kiwi RPG and encourage you to visit their website to find other Kiwi creators that you need to know about. And of course, this podcast wouldn't be able to keep going without our Patreons, who keep the lights on in Isen HQ and make our Discord a wholesome and hilarious place to be. So thank you to Alex White Robinson, Irene Cucci, Laura Christine Goodwin, Sam Malcolm, Kay, Victoria and Gavin Porter, Daniel Nichols, Squish, Malcolm Crowe is dead for most of the Sixth Sense, Alexander Lidkites, Andrew Evans, Caius the Fox, Ezekiel Talborelli, Christian H, Disturb1 NZ says the real life Win of the Forgotten says remember the Forgotten. Well, he said meow, but we all know what he means. Lyndon Hood, Tom Ailey, hashtag Paul Smells, crap.
No joke, make it up on the fly.
A dragon would never explode. I don't know why that is a dragon would never explode. Erika Jayne, Penny D, Aaron Gilgren, Danielle the Tea Lady, Lady of the Tea. Today's brew is Lady Grey, like an Earl Grey, but better. And Liz from Time to Die, a D&D podcast, Paul Chalk, hashtag Tom is cool, a dino might. Right, I get it.
Yeah,
And a brand new Patreon subscriber. So give a big shout out to our newest subscriber, Maya. So hey Maya, welcome.
Kia ora.
Welcome along. I'm hoping you're enjoying everything that we're doing. Okay, so and you too can be a fatey, tell jokes, and get a big old lovely welcome for as little as $2 a month. Join the exclusive Discord and become one of the fans I now consider friends. Before we wanted to go, we just want to remind you that if you have a hankering for more dice in your life, head on over to our partners fanrolldice.com. Use the promo code Fate of Isen. You can get 10% off your entire order. Right now, Erika is holding up fanrolldice.com and all the dice that she bought from Fanroll Dice with
Y'all
that
can't see it.
sweet discount that you can't see it because we're not live streaming. But
Censored
you
through
know
the
what? It works.
Oh, shake it so you know it's real.
Yeah.
It's in a box.
Ooh. Esma. But you know, it works. It works and it's cheap, and we do that for you because we love you. So last but not least, huge thanks to my players. I'm going to pass it over to them to tell you where you can find them on the socials and say their goodbyes. Take it away, Sidebuzz.
Kia ora, everybody. Legitimately, don't find me online. Spend your time doing better, more wholesome things like crocheting or learning a new recipe.
Touch grass.
Touch grass. But if you're sick of touching grass, you can find me on Facebook at Severin Comedy Person. I'm also on TikTok at Severin.piano or something like that. Search any combination of those two words. I'll be there at some point and I'll post something at some point. Much love.
Now it's me. It's Erika. Oh,
Yeah.
hey. I play Taryn Grimm. I have Instagram as Jayne and TikTok as Starry-Eyed Happy. And over to you, Kasia.
Hey, it's Kasia, who is asleep. My name is Kasia Wayfinder. You can find me at Kasia Wayfinder on Instagram. And that will be great if you do, because maybe I will start posting there. Over to you, Julz.
Hi, everybody. I've been your Dungeon Master, DM Julz, surviving post-flu syndrome. I said it before, but I'll say it again. Go get your flu shot. I know some of you are scared of getting a vaccine or a shot, but really, really please do, because this is day 17 and I still feel like garbage. And you can avoid all of that by just having a simple injection in your arm.
Not all hospitals make you go missing.
Yeah,
No,
not all
only this
hospitals
one.
make you go
You gotta
missing.
trust them.
You can do it.
It's fantasy.
In fact, the only time that I have been well in the last 4 weeks was actually by miracle for the live show with the Roswell TV people.
You did so good, too.
And it was the most incredible experience of my life. They were incredible. They were so friendly. They kept hugging me and wanting me to walk around with them. And they wouldn't let me leave. They basically
adopted
kidnapped me. Yeah. In fact, Jason, who plays Max in the original Roswell TV show, confessed that he fell in love with D&D and may need to hire me to run D&D for him and all of his friends. And that one of his best mates is actually the director of The Tattooist, the New Zealand movie. And so he was busy telling me kia ora and sweet as, and thinking he was just the bee's knees. And he was probably the sweetest man on the entire planet. And so I had such a great time after getting out of hospital with my back injury, and then I immediately got taken out by the flu. So Armageddon. You know, like everybody walking around Armageddon was unfortunately sick. So like it's just what happened. I'm really glad to be here. I'm really glad to be playing with such great and amazing role players. I'm really glad to be telling this story again and letting you guys see how this is going to end up, because we're starting to get to a crazy point of air where everything is just
Spooky.
there is a lot going on and there is a lot going wrong. People missing, people sick, and sky is falling out of the sky. So I hope our Sidebuzz are able to fix all of this, because it looks like the fate of Isen is looking pretty bleak right now. So I'm looking forward to continuing the story with you all. Thank you for sticking with us. Thank you to my players for a particularly late one tonight. This is 10 p.m. when we're finishing, and we usually finish at 8:30. So thank
That's
you
my
guys
bedtime, I
so
swear.
much for dealing with all of our technical difficulties today. E nohora, ka kite ana, aroha nui. Goodbye. We will see you again really soon in 2 weeks' time, and loads of love. Take care of yourselves out there. take care of somebody else. It's a hard world out there, so hug your friends and your family, and
just call your parents. Just give them a call. They're worried about you. They haven't heard from you. How you doing?
It's been longer than a month. He hasn't told you this in a month.
It's been a month of you presumably not calling your parents, and so you've got to. You've
just got to.
Yeah.
And
You've
then
just got
the
to.
asterisk is always unless your parents are shitty
Unless
people,
your
in which
parents are
case,
shitty people. Yeah.
whoever you consider to be either parents or close figures in your life, like your friends, people like that.
Call a pet.
Figures in the
They're
sky.
hungry. They want dinner.
I say trauma dump on a barista.
Yeah, totally.
Just, when you're ordering your coffee, just say, I never feel like I truly felt right in this world and have never experienced love to another human being. And they're like, here's a cappuccino. I'm like, cool, man. Just do that. Like, you'll be fine.
If you're ordering a cappuccino, you deserve it. Come on, fly.
I'm feeling like
a trauma dump.
I'm feeling like a bit of a flat white after this trauma dump.
Yeah. And also, we might have to get together in person, guys. I've got a Lego D&D castle which needs to be played. Yes. I have the adventure, we have the Lego castle, and we should play it together. I firmly believe that should happen.
Fantastic.
So,
That sounds good.
Yeah. All right. So let's get out of here for now.
Stop
Love
the
you guys
record.
all. Goodbye.
Stop the record. Stop the record. Wait, stop the record.